GamingBolt presents 15 most horrible ways to die in a video game. Games need a way to let players know they failed, and death is the perfect reminder. There are plenty of ways to meet your end in a game, leaving this mortal coil in style. Here are the most horrible ways to die in a video game. Decapitation with chainsaw. The first example of a chainsaw decapitation that springs to mind is Leon in Resident Evil 4. The mysterious chainsaw-wielding villain sprints towards the angsty agent, revving up his deadly weapon and sinking it into his victim's neck, blood and viscera spraying everywhere. It takes several seconds for the blade to hack through the neck, making it all the more unnerving to watch. Impalement. Remember those bits in games where your character would be sliding down a river, lean a little too far right, and end up with a tree branch through her throat? It's a very clear sign that you did something wrong and forces you to sit through a couple seconds of unnecessary gruesome death. Crushed by giant boss or robot. Fighting against a giant towering boss is always exhilarating. Slowly chipping away at their massive health bar or clambering up their hulking forms is a different kind of challenge that we rarely get to face. But all of that exhilaration dissipates very quickly when the same titanic enemy squashes you with one step. Shadow of the Colossus teaches players to tread carefully because if they don't watch their steps, they may end up under someone else's.
We got a couple Hyperion warmongers, gentlemen.
The bot! Prime it!
Time to clock in.
Hi.
Falling down on a spike. A lot of platformers like to add insult to injury by making inept jumpers fall into a row of razor-sharp spikes, because a bottomless pit just won't cut it sometimes. Falling headfirst into these metal death traps just let the player know that not only did they not make the jump, they completely and utterly murdered the chubby plumber that was counting on them to lead them to the princess who may or may not be in several different castles. Close shotgun shot. You never want to get too close to your enemies in a shooter because you may just receive a shotgun blast to the chest. It's a clump of shrapnel thrown out of a barrel of a gun with such force that there's no way you'll stay on your feet. If the enemy is close enough, you won't be able to survive one burst, bringing your current life to a quick end. Burning everyone with a flamethrower. Bullets usually come to a screeching stop as soon as they come into contact with something. Fire doesn't have this problem. In Far Cry 3 and 4, you can rush into a compound and burn everyone alive, sending flames licking up and down buildings, consuming everything, and making it difficult for enemies to fight back because, well, they're on fire. Mines. What's worse than dying in an explosion? How about dying in an explosion that you can't see coming? Mines litter the wasteland of Fallout 3 and 4, slowing you down immensely as you carefully place every step just to touch a mine with a sliver of your foot, ending in a fire and shrapnel. Sniper headshot. Getting shot is not fun in a video game, but receiving a high-caliber bullet to the skull just adds insult to injury. The Sniper Elite series does this better than anyone else, showing the bullet in slow motion as it travels through soldiers, tearing through bone and gray matter alike. Not only have you been shot, but you've been shot with so much force and precision that you're dead before you hit the ground. Getting chopped into pieces by lasers. Traps are everywhere in video games, and none is as frustrating and deadly as lasers. Whether you're leaping over them or crawling under them, they're always extremely capable of cutting through you like a hot knife through butter. It's a quick but gruesome death, severing limbs with heat so intense that you can't even bleed, and yet developers still use them as platforming hurdles every time they can. Ripping the heart out. What's the quickest way to kill someone? How about ripping their heart out of their chest? The many muscular combatants of the Mortal Kombat series love pulling off this move, waiting until their opponent is left staggering to lunge forward and remove the heart in one swift motion. Getting sliced into pieces with a sword. Swords are a classic weapon for murdering, and games have been using them to great effect. Plenty of skilled swordsmen exist in games wielding deadly blades to hack their opponents to pieces. Raiden of Metal Gear Solid fame makes short work of his enemies in his solo action game, slicing and dicing until the enemy standing in front of him is nothing more than cubes of meat. Getting electrocuted. Games like Super Mario make getting hit with electricity fun as the characters wriggle in the air and their skeletons blinking through their skin. But it isn't as happy or innocent as it seems. Remember the thugs that went up against Cole in the Infamous games? He sent millions of volts streaming into their bodies. They were frozen still, unable to move before they fell and hit the ground, dead and extra crispy. Getting eaten by zombies. Zombies are everywhere in video games, and they are never nice. It's bad enough with one of the shambling corpses, but getting overwhelmed by a horde is a horrible way to go. Games like Left 4 Dead or Dead Rising throw entire mobs of zombies at you, and it's easy to get lost amongst the tides of bodies. You might be able to gun down a couple, but you'll quickly get bitten and torn apart by mindless creatures that exist only to bring your virtual life to a terrifying end. Dead through hypnosis. Sometimes in games, you don't even have control over your own character. Take the fight against Psycho Mantis from Metal Gear Solid, for example. Control is wrenched from the player, death isn't even a choice at this point, you just have to succumb to the hypnosis and wait through the loading screen to give it another shot and try to remain in control. Getting run over by a car. There's nothing worse than getting mowed down by a speeding vehicle when you're just trying to cross the road in a game like GTA. Cars and games are designed to tear down the road, stopping when the light turns red and always putting on their turn signal. But all of that goes out the window when the player just waltzes onto the street, paying no heed to the rules of traffic. It always ends in the same way, with you being sent flying in the air or mashed into the concrete. Either way, you're not getting back up.
And that wraps it up. What are your thoughts about this? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please like and share it on Twitter and Facebook. And why not consider subscribing? We upload some really cool videos almost every day. Thank you for watching this video, and happy gaming!